More leads won't actually scale your info business. And it's very simple because a lot of coaches kind of overlook this one thing. When it comes to scaling, one thing is very important. It's knowing how to leverage the lifetime value of your customers through upsells, ascension, basically value ladders, right? Shout out to, of course, Russell Brunson, and knowing how to have a good retention customers through, of course, good service delivery. If you don't have a good service delivery, first of all, click off this video and go figure out how to deliver the best effing results in your niche to your clients. Once you figure that out, you have unlocked a new step, which you need to basically focus on your backend, leveraging the lifetime value of your customers, ascension, right? That's what will actually scale you to 25 months without actually putting more resources. And after you figure that step out, then you can actually go all in on your traffic. But before that, you need to figure out how to ascend or leverage the lifetime value of each of your customers that you get, especially if you're a coach that is stuck between 3, 5, or 10,000 a month. Because it's a very common belief that they think or you think that you don't have enough leads. You basically tell yourself, right, if I just had more followers, more engagement, more traffic, I would eventually scale. But of course, here's what I've learned after looking inside hundreds of coaching businesses. That's completely wrong. It's just like fundamentally wrong. What I'm trying to explain you here is that instead of getting one client and getting just 2,000 out of this client, you need to leverage each client, and instead of that client spending 2,000, you need to make him spend 5 or 7,000, right? And how do you do that? You do that through ascension, through leveraging offers, having backend offers, front-end offers, a lot of offers, right? That are always all feel like a natural next step your client needs to make after, of course, getting results from you. So that's why getting good results is so important. So scaling doesn't come from getting more people. That's my one line I want you to remember. It comes from getting more out of the people that you already have. Think of it, it's so much more efficient to figure out how to get more out of the people that you already have. Trust me, it's much more easier to do that in the first place, and it's going to help you so much in the long term, especially if you will then focus on the quantity. Let's start with the idea that everyone's chasing more leads. A lead is basically just means a potential client, right? Somebody who just shows interest in what you sell. Now, here's what happens in most coaching businesses. They post more, they reach more, and they just simply get more DMs. It can be organic traffic, it can be paid traffic, doesn't really matter. As long as they just get more DMs, is what keeps their business alive. Their income doesn't actually move much, although, right? 1 month can be 7K, next month can be 9K, and then it's back to 5K. Why? Because they just kind of felt lazy 1 month and didn't actually invest into content. And it's because they're chasing width, meaning they're trying to reach as many people, new people, as possible, but they never built depth. And so let me show you how this works. Imagine two arrows, and I actually have a drawing next to it. It's pretty bad. I'm not a painter. I'm sorry about that, but I'm just trying to visually give you my point, right? The first one goes sideways, and that's traffic. And that's all the people you're trying to reach, right? The second one goes downward, and that's depth. I actually need depth as well. That's how much you get out of the people that you already reached. Most coaches are spreading sideways. It basically means they're going on the traffic. They invest into traffic. They're trying to reach more people every day, new leads, new followers, new posts. But coaches who actually scale are the ones doing 25, 30, or even 50 per month. They actually go deeper. They build systems that take every lead, every client, every relationship and make it worth 2 to 3 times more. That's the difference. That is what separates you from the actual creators who you look up to. And here's my drawing. I know it's not the best, but it gets the point across very good. So as you guys can see, this is traffic and this is depth, right? This is width. I just named it traffic because it just makes more sense. So most coaches invest into this one. That's why it's longer. But what you gotta do is you gotta kind of have a balance. You need to have a good backend as well. This is how much you're going to leverage through the lifetime of each of your customers. It's just one sale, right? And this step, it stands for all of the things that will help you eventually do that. It stands for more value per lead, backend systems, retention systems, doesn't really matter, right? Even service delivery is in the backend. So yeah, Let me give you a real world example, right? And it's one of my favorite things I always try to say to other people. It's Amazon, right? And Amazon didn't become one of the richest companies in the world because it had more customers than everybody else. Of course, that's the case tomorrow. And of course, because of a lot of good investments they made, they became one of the top leading companies in the world. It became rich because it made every customer more valuable. It's very simple. That's what they focused on. They focused on customer retention. They focused on having the best customer experience ever. That's why every customer came back to it to buy more stuff, right? They upsold it because they had good service delivery. When you buy once, they upsell you, right? When you like it, they offer you Prime. It's basically their, subscription. When you join Prime, they show you more deals, more services, and more reasons to stay. And they didn't chase traffic, they built infrastructure around. And then everybody came. And Jeff Bezos literally said, we don't make money when we sell things. We make money when we help customers make better decisions. Customer-centric service. He's not focused on getting more people into Amazon. He's actually focused on keeping the people he already has and making sure each one stays longer, buys more, and of course trusts him more, trusts his company more. And that's what I call backend thinking. And that's the shift every coach needs to actually make. It's that simple, right? Once you start thinking of customer centric or backend thinking, that's when you think that your service delivery is the most important aspect of your business, your info coaching business, right? And once you have figured that out, it means that you need to take the next step, which is increasing the lifetime value of each of your customers. Now, let's zoom in into your business under a microscope, right? There are only two directions money flows into your business. Inflow, which is, of course, new clients coming in every day, and outflow, old clients leaving, leads costing you, and opportunities basically dying every day in your pipeline. And so if you increase the inflow but don't fix the leaks on the outflow side, you just kind of scale chaos at one point. And that happens when you get more leads, right? But don't have systems for retention, upsells, and reactivation of your old leads. You make more noise, you get more people, but it feels like you're always chasing, right? And you start every month from zero again. That's why so many coaches get busier without actually getting richer, because more clients doesn't mean more profit when backend leaks. So yeah, this is basically again a very bad diagram I made. Again, I'm not good at drawing. I'm trying my best here, but yeah. So yeah, this is basically inflow, right? This is your leads going into your info biz, and this is the outflow. And the reason I made it like that is because it has a lot of holes and it's just leaking, right? I know, very genius from me. But what's the backend, right? So what's the backend? Your backend is everything that happens after someone becomes a client. It's basically your onboarding process, how they start working with you. It's your delivery system, how you fulfill your promise to your client. It's your ascension system. It's how you offer them the next step naturally so they can actually take it. And it's your retention system, how you keep them longer and paying more. And your activation system, how you bring them back if they leave. Very good, right? It's everything basically. The backend is like the engine in your business. If that engine is weak or broken, you can pour as much traffic as you want, but the car won't move faster. It will just make more noise, but if that engine is strong, by that I mean the backend is good. You have everything in place, everything works, right? You have figured everything out. Everything you do in the front end suddenly starts compounding, right? One client turns into two through referrals, two clients turn into three through renewals, and three clients turn into six through upsells. This is so good. And that's how people hit 25 months, not by chasing more leads, but by multiplying what already works. So the real shift is this. You don't need more new customers or leads. You need to make the existing compound. Every sale should create more sales. Every win should create more wins. Every client should actually create another client. That's what scaling actually is. And once you see it, you honestly cannot unsee it because it just makes so much sense when you understand how everything works. Because the second you realize that you've been chasing sideways progress, when all you need was to just go deeper into your system and just figuring out how to actually leverage it, right? It just makes so much more sense, right? So traffic isn't your problem. Your problem is your backend. If every client you close could have been worth 2 to 3 times more through retention, ascension, or reactivation, you would be already at 25 plus months, right? Without getting a single new lead. So that's the power of the backend systems. That's the power I'm trying to give you in this content. They don't add more chaos. They actually organize what you already have and make it profitable. You don't need more exposure. You need more infrastructure, because exposure without infrastructure is like pouring water into a leaky bucket with holes. Again, as I started this video, every drop counts, every lead compounds, and every month just basically stacks on the previous one. And you have this compound effect, and every month just makes more and more people that potentially will ascend into your backing offer. So yeah, that's when you actually finally stop sprinting sideways and you start building something that scales up predictably, calmly, and profitably. And so if you're doing 3 to 10,000 months right now and you're just curious how much revenue you're leaking, that's literally what I actually help you fix, right? I call it the 48-hour profit patch. It's basically a thing that I do. In 48 hours, I go through your funnel, your backend, your offer, and I basically show you where you're losing money and how to fix it, and how to scale to consistent 20 to 25 months without chasing new leads. And again, it's just some clarity that can add thousands back into your business instantly. So it's a very good deal. It's free. It's basically like a Loom breakdown, a funnel breakdown video. And so if you want me to take a look, you can DM me Patch on Instagram or connect with me on Instagram, or just comment Patch on this YouTube video and I'll send you more details. It was honestly a pleasure watching this video. Thank you so much and catch you in the next one.